Hey guys, welcome to Quinian's Budget Crafts. Just a little thing real quick. Me and some of the people over on the Discord are playing tabletop games every Friday evening, but more on that later. First, let's build this house. Well, the first thing we're going to need is a base to put this on because it's pretty big and I'm a little worried about warping. I used a sheet of MDF, and I just wanted to show you here that you can cut this without having a table saw or any other kind of power tools. I just clamped my square to it, and then used my little saw that I always use and cut right along the edge of the square. If you end up with a part like this where you can't really put the clamp on the long end of the square, just put it on the other end and it'll be fine. As long as it holds still, that's all you need. Once you get it all cut out, go ahead and spray the board down with some Super 77 and then stick your foam to it. You can see on my dimensions here that I did 30 by 20. This gives me a little room for the yard. I stuck my foam on kind of a stupid way and ended up with 2 seams instead of 1, but whatever, it's fine. Just put your foam on there, flip it over, and let the weight of the board hold it down to glue it on. Then just go around the edges with your nice sharp knife and trim off the excess foam. Now go through and draw on your house footprint so you know exactly where the house is going to sit. The next thing to do is the floor. Remember I said I wanted to use the coffee stir sticks here because it's real wood, so it looks like real wood. Plus, if there's some broken or rotten floorboards, I can actually break these. In order to get those down, the easiest way is to just tape a whole bunch of the blue painter's tape, sticky side up, transfer your house footprint to that, and then just start layering on your sticks. Nothing real hard about the process, just kind of tedious. Rather than trying to cut them exactly the right length when you're putting them on there, just put them on there long and then transfer the house footprint to that again, and then cut that out. And you should end up with something kind of like this. Before you stick your boards down though, go ahead and Mod Podge and black paint the entire area where your house footprint is. You can do the whole thing too if you want, just mark it some way so you know where the thing goes. This way, whatever gaps in between the boards you have, or if you end up pulling some up or that kind of thing, you don't have to worry about the underside being white. I went in and just extended my corners a little bit so I could see where they were. Once your Mod Podge is all dry, go ahead and hose down this whole thing with Super 77. Then take your boards that are, your flooring that's on the tape, put it board side down, making very certain that you've got it right on the perfect little corners and everything. If you're a little bit off on the corners, maybe you didn't quite cut the wood exactly the same as you drew it on the thing, it's fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Just stick the thing down and then adjust later. Once it's all nice and stuck down, go ahead and start peeling off your tape. Just peel it pretty slowly, making sure to keep the boards pushed down while you peel the tape off. Some of them might want to go with the tape. And right here I did a very stupid thing. I pulled the board off because it wasn't matching the corner that I drew on the thing over there, and later my wall ends up uneven. So double check before you start editing stuff. I broke down a sheet or 2 of the dollar store ready board into 2-inch strips because that's what I use for most everything, and that's what we're using here. And then I custom made and printed out a couple of rollers. One of them is a brick texture and the other is the same texture, and I mutilated it so it's like a broken plaster brick texture thing. Patrons will already have access to the STL files for those, and printed versions of the rollers will be on my Etsy store. So just go ahead and peel all the paper off of both sides of your ready board. You might find it easier to do that as a whole sheet, especially if you get the one side that sticks really well like this. But however you do it, just go ahead and peel all that off and then do your texture on the things. I'm doing the texture on these as I need them, so I don't end up with a whole bunch of one and not enough of the other, some other problem like that. So the outside walls have the solid brick texture on one side and the broken plaster on the other. All of the interior walls have the broken plaster on both sides. So this is what the broken plaster one looks like. There's just little spots of bricks. When we paint that, we'll do the brick first and then the plaster on top of it. So if any white gets on the brick color, that'll be fine. We don't want the brick color on the plaster. That would look strange. So using the patented method of hold it up there and cut it where it looks right, just go ahead and do that to cut out some wall pieces. Making sure that you're using the correct textures for the wall you're doing. I also noticed that on the map here, there's this weird little corner thing that sticks out both directions, like a log cabin or something. But if you look in the book here, that's a nice, crisp, clean 90-degree corner, so I'm not doing the log cabin thing. Also, this right here, I know you can't see that because the camera refuses to focus, but the windows on the original module have the pointed, like sort of church-style window, and the updated version has these rectangular windows with the 6-pane window things there. So I made these windows here from some other STLs I had. Those are available on Thingiverse for everybody because they're a remix. And these ones match the one from the updated module. So just figure out on the map where the window is supposed to be, figure out a good height for it, and then smush it into the foam to make an impression that you can cut out. The fireplaces on these aren't lit or anything, so we're not going to worry about LEDs or fancy paint jobs, but we do have to put a fireplace there. These things stick out of the wall a little bit, and if you look on the picture in the book, it actually goes all the way up the house. So I'm not real sure how I'm going to do those yet, so for now we're just going to cut the hole and ignore it. We'll work that out once we get the second floor on. If you are using these windows, go ahead and cut out your hole for them, and then use the two halves of the windows to make sure that they actually do fit in the hole and still have overlap around the edges. Those pieces in the middle are supposed to touch, and then the edge of the window frame goes over the edge of the foam so you don't have any weird gaps. That's kind of nice because that way you don't have to get exactly perfect rectangles here as long as it's close enough. Then we just put down a little hot glue and stick it right on the edge of the boards. You don't need to worry about the squeeze out too much, but I'm going to put baseboards on here. So I do want to make sure I get rid of any really big blobs or anything that's going to get in the way. So right here I made a mistake, one of many. This opening in between these two walls here has a door in it, and the doors fit in a very specific size hole. So when you have a situation like that, you really want to just have one solid wall all the way across with the hole for the door. If you do it this way, the door is not going to fit. You're going to have to put a piece of foam over the top. It's just, don't do that. So remove those walls, cut out a new one, cut out a hole in the middle for the door, making sure that the door does actually fit in this hole because it doesn't have the clamp around frame, so this hole has to be pretty exact. And if you do end up having to remove walls and change stuff around, you can just use the tip of your hot glue gun to re-melt the glue and peel it right up. Alright, now that that's sorted out, go ahead and put the wall back down. On my internal walls here, I'm leaving them one board shy of the very edge so that when I put the external wall on, there's not a whole bunch of weird little gaps in between sections. It's just one continuous external wall. If you're using these doors, the best way to put them in there without messing up the foam is to put the top in first at an angle and then slide the bottom across the floor. And it'll pop in there nice and snug. You could actually leave them like that and not glue them in, and that way you can remove them when the door has been opened. It's up to you how you want to do it. I'm probably going to end up gluing mine. So the rest of the putting the walls in is pretty much a whole lot more of the same. Just hold the piece up there and cut it out, glue it in. Make sure you're using the right textures. On one of these walls here, I continued the external wall all the way across, and then I had external wall on the inside and had to cut that out and redo a piece. Just double check your stuff before you glue it down. I had several things I had to pull up and re-glue. But yeah, I mean, it's not hard. It's just real tedious. Just, check the map, measure your things, make sure you're putting in the windows and the doors, all that stuff. Trying to cut the windows and doors out while the walls are already standing is really hard to do. So if you can do it before you glue it down, then definitely do that. Also, a good way to make sure you're getting your walls nice and straight is to use your square. Put your square down where you're going to put the wall and just put the wall right up against it. A lot of these look like they're squiggly or misaligned or something like that. They're actually not. It's just the camera. Not real sure what's going on there. I don't have a fisheye lens, but it's a cheap webcam, so there you go. On this back wall here, when I measured all the stuff, I measured it across the top of the wall and then started cutting the holes the wrong way. It's very important that when you measure, you make sure which orientation you're measuring from. Thankfully, the few holes that I did cut, the couple of windows, didn't matter. They were exactly where they're supposed to be anyway. But if I had cut the door where I first stamped it out, that would have been terrible. Here's another mess up right here. I'm not sure what in the world I was measuring from, but the hallway there is supposed to be 1 inch. The room inside there is supposed to be like 5 inches or something. I didn't measure something right for sure, so I had to take out the wall and redo it. Then I still actually messed it up. I didn't make it the right size for the door and had to build a frame around it. So I'll get to show you what that looks like. So if you did what I did there and you cut the walls out for rooms, ignoring the fact that you have a door in the hallway, it's okay. You just cut out a little piece of foam and then mash your door into the foam like you would anything else, and then cut that out and glue your frame into place with some regular old PVA glue. And it's not a perfect solution, but it's a whole lot easier than replacing all these walls. This wall right here is where the stove goes. So just go ahead and put that thing in place and measure off of that. It also sticks out the back of the house like the fireplaces. That is something we're going to have to keep in mind when we do the second floor. Once you get everything all glued into place, you can see my one wall's out of alignment there. Whatever, it'll be fine. There's stairs and a balcony and stuff there. It really doesn't matter that much. But once it's all set up and whatnot, go ahead and Mod Podge everything. Go kind of easy on the floor there. You don't want to warp your boards. And when you put it on the wall, just smear it around and then take a really stiff, smaller brush like this one with the purple handle I've got and scrub the wall, basically. That way you can get it out of the bricks that are on your wall. For your large areas, you can definitely use a larger brush. Just make sure you wipe the wall a whole bunch. You don't want to get this too thick and kill your texture. This roller I made does actually cut into the foam. It's not like the Green Stuff World ones that just smush it. This one actually cuts the foam. So after the heavy coat of Mod Podge and paint, your bricks are still bricks. They're not like a weird blob. So you can see here after the Mod Podge and paint is dried, you still have bricks. So we're going to cheat a little bit on this paint job. We're going to use this off-white color here and spray the insides of the walls, and this darker tan color and spray the outside of the walls, because if you look in the book, this is actually pretty tan. It's not as red as you might think bricks would be. Everything is coated in Mod Podge and paint, so you don't really have to worry too much about melting the foam. Maybe the EPS a little if it's got some holes or something, but that's the yard, so it'd be fine if there's uneven texture. But just hold the can like a foot to 18 inches away and you'll be fine. It's not going to melt anything. Somehow my footage got corrupted, so we have like 1 second of the result. Looks like the inside's pretty white, and I swear the outside walls are tan. You just can't see that. But that is actually where we're going to go ahead and stop with the house, because I want to do the upstairs too, and then the outside. And when I paint the whole thing, I want all the stuff to match. I don't want to paint one and then 2 weeks later paint the next one and stuff doesn't line up. That doesn't work very well. The STL files for the rollers, the patrons already have access to. If you're not a patron, you can sign up and get that, or you can buy them from my Etsy store. The STLs for the doors and the windows are both on Thingiverse, and the links for those are in the description below. Something else I wanted to mention real quick. A couple of guys from the Discord and I are playing games every Friday evening. We would absolutely love to have more players if you guys would like to join in. As far as what we're playing, we don't even know. We just pick something. If we know it, then cool. If not, we learn it. Nothing too serious. We're just having fun, but we would definitely love to have you over there. The link for the Discord is in the description below. Of course, as always, if you guys want to support the channel, you can do so on Patreon, where you can get access to STL files and sneak peeks and tell me what you want me to build. Of course, if that's not your thing, you can always do a one-time donation on Ko-fi. Or you could do your shopping for supplies that I like to use over on my website, where I have Amazon affiliate links. Doesn't cost you anything extra at all, but it does help the channel. And like I said a couple of times, I've got an Etsy store going now where I'm putting up some of the stuff I'm making. As always, thank you for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.